Happy New Year, everyone. Yes, we've now hit 2022. Hope you all had a fantastic night last night, seeing in the new year. I didn't. I would have slept through it. Yeah, not really for me. One day leading into the other is much like every other day leading into another to me. But yeah, so anyway, so I thought, what better way to start the new year by looking back at 2021 and ranking my top 10 favourite films of the year. So, join me on this ride. Okay, so I did do a companion piece to this video yesterday, which was my top 10 most disappointing films of the year. If you haven't seen that, then please go and check it out, because a lot of films that you may expect to see on this list might actually be on that if you haven't watched it. Yeah, so I decided to do a top 10 most disappointing list as opposed to a top 10 worst films of the year, because I've seen a lot of films over the year. A lot of them are sort of straight to video fare. A lot of them have been pretty bad movies, stuff like Bubblegum Milkshake or whatever that, Gunpowder Milkshake, I don't know what the title was, that one Karen Gillan film, which was exceptionally bad. That had gone in a bad list. So I thought I'd do a most disappointing list, because all of them on that are high profile releases. So yeah, but anyway, so enough about that. This is about my favourite films of the year, the films that evoked a reaction, the films that, you know, a positive reaction, films that I enjoyed, films that done something for me. So I'm not going to stay around talking. We're going to get straight into this list. Okay, 10th spot, Free Guy. Yep, the Ryan Reynolds movie, Free Guy. I thought this was thoroughly enjoyable. I got more out of it on a second watch, which was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. It had some depth to it once you realise what the heart of the film actually is. And, you know, yeah, it was just a very enjoyable experience. Now, I have done a review for this, so I'm not going to go into it in too much depth. But let's just say I enjoyed it, I had fun with it, and it's got a lot of rewatchability factor to it. Okay, 9th spot. Now, this film is a sequel, and it is the sequel to Army of the Dead. Yes, so Army of Thieves. Now, Army of the Dead was somewhat lackluster, but this film on its own is a magnificent piece of cinema. It is thoroughly enjoyable. It is very competently directed. It's got a very interesting story to it, compelling characters, and all round just an amazing film. Obviously it doesn't delve in really to the zombie side of things, and rightfully so. It's a film of its own, and well worth seeing if you haven't seen it. Now, dropping down into 8th spot, Benedict Cumberbatch, The Courier. Yeah, The Courier sort of came out of nowhere for me. I didn't really know much about it, and I was blown away. This true story of these two individuals from different lands coming together, working together, forming a friendship, and ultimately what happens to the two of them. It's quite a heartbreaking film in the sense of what the characters go through, and the ultimate downfall for the both of them, but what they achieve at the same time. Wonderful film, very historic in the sense that you should watch it for those reasons. Yeah, really enjoyed the film. Number 7, Cruella from Disney. Yeah, you know, Emma Stone, she's a fantastic actress. I saw the trailers for this. I thought it looked okay, but when I actually watched it, I was blown away. I thought it was an amazing film. I thought it was well made, well directed, well written, and Emma Stone did perform in it. It was all in all a very good film. Now, 101 Dalmatians is a film I don't really like too much. I don't care about the fact that they've sort of changed the journey this character could potentially go down and turn him more into an anti-hero as opposed to a villain. You know, that sort of stuff, it doesn't bother me in the least. It's just a fantastic, well-made, thought-out movie, and it just looked really good. Okay, number 6, A film that came out of nowhere again for me, Finch, Tom Hanks. Again, a film that just blew me away. Very simplistic storytelling. Tom Hanks on his own again, but alongside this android that he builds because he knows he's dying, and he wants to build a companion for his dog to carry on looking after this animal, this pet that he has taken along for the ride in this post-apocalyptic future. It's just a very good film. The effects are fantastic. Now, obviously, this is an Apple TV movie, or it went to Apple TV. Much like Tom Hanks's last film, Greyhound. So I don't know if that's going to be an ongoing thing with Tom Hanks. But, yeah, this just, you know, it was story-driven, character-driven, and just very, very good. Fifth spot, Dune. Now, I'm not a big fan of Dune, the original Dune. It's a film that I hate, I despise, a film that I cannot watch, a film that bores the crap out of me. I remember seeing it as a kid, and I was very, very ill. My father was watching it, and I was very, very young. I was on the sofa, ill, off school, primary school we're talking. And the film brings back these memories of this. Luckily, this film got rid of all those memories. You know, after Blade Runner 2049, I love this director. I think he's fantastic visually, and you know, every scene within this is thought about, is shot with thought, is beautiful. It's like art on screen. It's just a wonderful, wonderful shot, beautiful looking film from beginning to end. Luckily we are getting a sequel, because if we hadn't, this film would have been rendered moot, because it doesn't end at a concluding point for a film. It just ends, and I was surprised at the point where it ended. I was like, what was that? Just getting into, like, really getting into some of these characters and where they're taking me, and all of a sudden, bam, and now I've got to wait. But luckily we are getting that sequel. Fantastic. Now, in fourth spot, now some people might be surprised at where I've put this. It's Spider-Man No Way Home. Yeah, Spider-Man's new film. Now, this film had a lot of hype surrounding it. A lot of hype because for obvious reasons. The return of Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, the villains from the original Star Wars, what am I saying? The original Spider-Man films. And everyone jumped upon this hype train for it. I didn't. I hate hype. I hate it when a film is hugely hyped up, because it generally gets a negative reaction from me, and I don't really want to be part of that hype and the excitement. The trailers were okay. They didn't do nothing special for me, let's just say that. You know, I think the Doctor Strange trailer I'm finding more exciting than what I found the trailers for this. Probably because there's been so many iterations of Spider-Man before this that it knocks it down this list somewhat. Now, I've done a review for the film, and I was pretty critical. You know, it's a fun movie, it's a nice looking movie, but there are elements to it that I don't particularly think are fantastic, that I would, in my mind, I would have hoped to have been different and filmed differently and edited differently, this sort of a thing. And I go into that in my review. But overall, it's as a whole, it's a fantastic film. It's a lot of fun, a lot of enjoyment out of it. It's not the best Spider-Man film by far. It's sort of middle of the table, I would say. But yeah, you know, it's the only Marvel film on this list, I'll tell you that. Any other year prior to this, Marvel would have dominated the list. My top 10 favourite films would have been Marvel. And unfortunately, this year, we got Black Widow, which was somewhat lacklustre and 15 films too late. And we had Shang-Chi, that's another story. Check out my other video. Eternals, I'll be honest, I haven't seen. You know, it didn't appeal to me going to see it. I'll wait till it comes out. This is the only Marvel film I've seen theatrically this year. I think Marvel are knocking it out of the park in the TV sector. All the TV shows, from WandaVision up to Hawkeye, I've found to be fantastic, because they can spend more time with the characters and, you know, fleshing out these characters. So I think this year Marvel have knocked it out of the ballpark on TV, but not so much in film. But this film was enjoyable. Number 3, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Yeah, I only watched this the other day, a couple of days ago, and I really enjoyed it. Now, this again is one of those films that I was a bit reluctant about. You know, whenever you get a film that is brought back after about 30 years, it's a bit difficult to recapture that magic. And we had the 2016 Mess from Paul Feig, which the less said about the better. But this film, it captures the tone. It captures the magic. It's like old-fashioned filmmaking brought back, because the film doesn't throw you into the action from the get-go like what a lot of films today need to do, because they're afraid that the audience will lose interest unless there's something flashy occurring on the screen. No, this film, apart from giving you an opening scene, an opening introduction like the first Ghostbusters film did, probably takes about 40 minutes before you get to see the first ghost, which is a Slimer type of character ghost, in the same vein. That's the only criticism of the film I really have, is the need to have the Slimers, have the Marshmallow Man, have Zool, instead of creating a new sort of villain and for the people to defeat. Obviously, there's the inclusion of the original cast popping up, which is fantastic. They were, you know, it was great to see them all again. And hats off to the way they handled the death of Harold Ramis, who died in 2014, Egon Spengler, and what they've done with him at the end of the film. It is very emotional, very raw. And if I was a member of his family, I'd be very happy with what they done. It's not disrespectful in any way, it's the complete opposite. It's totally respectful and pays homage to him and his character. So that was great. The film also utilises musical score elements from the original Ghostbusters film throughout also. So yeah, fantastic film. Now in second place, The Suicide Squad. Yes, had a lot of fun with this film. A lot of fun. I've watched it several times since. I thought it was just, you know, James Gunn coming on board. He worked for the Suicide Squad. I remember when I first watched it, it was a bit sort of like, you know, it feels very much like the first Suicide Squad in the opening scenes, with the introduction of the team and all this sort of stuff. But then when you get to the point when what happens to them happens, the story then goes its own way, and you've got a fabulous cast, you've got a fabulous fleshed out set of characters. I know this film wasn't everyone's cup of tea, and some people disliked it, but you know, for me it worked. The humour worked, the characters worked. It was just fantastic, and I really enjoyed it. So that brings me to that number 1 spot, that all elusive number 1 spot. Okay, so for number 1, I'm going to put the Bruce Willis movie, Apex. No, see, now that would be on one of my worst lists. Even though it's better than anything else he's done recently, it would still be on a worst list. So no, in number 1 spot, I'm going to have to put the Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, shall we say. Yeah, now, you know, the fact we even got this film, fantastic. Now I've watched this film several times. I've watched it in one sitting on several occasions, and I've broke it down into its chapters and watched it like that as well. The fact that, you know, they'd already made this film and Joss Whedon took it and cut it into the mess that was Justice League itself, and then you've got this. It isn't like you've got a film that's marginally better. You've got a film that is night and day in comparison to that mess. This film just shows you what could have been, and not only that, this film elevates the films that came prior to it. It elevates Man of Steel, and it elevates Batman versus Superman higher in my perception than what they were prior because of the themes that run through and the concluding arcs and all this sort of stuff. It was just a fantastic film. It's not without fault, don't get me wrong. There are issues within it, but they're very, very minor, and just a couple of scenes sort of irk at me, and nothing more than that. It's just, you know, I can't believe that we got this, and it's just better than anything I've seen this year. You know, Zack Snyder deserves to be able to continue his vision for the DC universe after seeing this movie. Plans are in place, and yeah, just fantastic film. So anyway, so that concludes my top 10 favourite films of the year. Now, this list is comprised by me, and I don't expect people to agree, obviously, because art is subjective. We all like our own things, we all dislike our own things. And I'm sure some of the films on this list will probably end up on someone else's least favourite films of the year, much like a lot of films on my most disappointing films of the year would be on a lot of people's favourite list, and I respect that. But, you know, we'll have our own opinions, and that's what's great about it. So let me know down in the comments what your favourite films of the year are, whether you agree with my list, whether you've seen all of these, whether you disagree, and yeah, why not come and join the channel, because I've got a fantastic year ahead planned out, new ideas, new video series, this sort of a thing, to keep us going. Anyway, this is AJ, thank you for watching, and I shall see you on the next one. Take care all, and goodbye.